and welcome to the One More Thing podcast. Today I'm joined with Pastor Larry Baucom.
Good morning.
Good morning. So this was a fun weekend, and I wanted to start off with talking about the Heretic video. This weekend you kind of came in, you hadn't seen it yet.
Right.
So what were your initial thoughts on the video and how Rita did and all of that? Did it accurately portray the message you were trying to get across?
Yeah, I think it was well done. I think, of course, our creative team is fantastic. So when we get something like that together, I think it was really amazing. I love to see the different staff responses, particularly Lisa.
Yeah.
I loved it when Lisa talked and Kevin. I just thought it was really quite amazing to hear them speak up, because normally I don't see them on stage or see them on video. To see them up there was kind of interesting. So I liked it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was, I think Rita did an amazing job. And as always, like you said, she does an amazing job with all that stuff. But one of the things that I noticed is there were different feelings from the different individuals, right? There, like from you and from Brett, it was like you were kind of like laughing off this idea of being a heretic. But you look at somebody like even Lisa, there was like a lot of pain behind that,
Right?
You know, and I think that's something that people forget. They take the humanity out of it and realize like this is an actual real person that you're claiming to be heretical, and then it hurts because they don't believe the same things that you believe. But there was that empowering moment of when she said, you know, if I was called a heretic, I'd probably be proud of that. You know, like it was definitely a shift in emotions.
Yeah, I think when you get there, it's fine, but the process to get there is often painful.
Right. And
there are those of us, and I think maybe that would be all of us, who felt a little PTSD.
Sure.
There's that post-traumatic stress disorder that comes when you feel like they don't like you, but they've not talked to you, or they've gotten a note or a letter about something you said or wrote, and they've judged you harshly.
Right.
And we all, I think, most of us want to be liked, and we're not trying to have enemies in the world. But when someone comes strongly against us, it's a little bit disappointing. I remember reading one review years ago that someone walked into Suncoast and they said, "Oh, it's a dark place, and there's just a dark, evil spirit here." And I go, man, that's just not fair. I mean, that's just such a judgment and miscalculation. That doesn't talk about who we are and what we've done and the joy we experience and the people we help. And
I don't believe that's the vast majority of the people that come to Suncoast, they claim the exact opposite. They feel welcomed. They feel loved from the minute they walk in. So that's very interesting, you know, to hear that. I had not seen that review.
Yeah, and there's others that if you don't have a set of beliefs or statements of beliefs, they get really nervous because they think you're a cult.
Right.
And really, what defines a cult?
Depends on how many people believe in it.
Well, and if you're outside the norms of the church structure, there are many denominations that some of the mainline denominations call cults. Yeah. But in reality, I think they're probably that those judgments should not be made. Yeah. I think that when people are trying to follow the teaching of Christ the best they know, we need to give them a little bit of room there. I mean, even in the New Testament, you know, these guys say, hey, they're doing all kinds of stuff and not in your name. Right. And Jesus basically said, look, if they're not against us, you know, they're doing the great works. You know, by his fruit you'll know him. Look at what people do, and we need to embrace those who do great things. There are many nonprofit organizations in our community and across the country who do wonderful things for people. And I mean, they help people in stress. I mean, you think about the Red Cross and Compassion International. Some of those do great things. And I look at our ministry partners, Mothers Helping Mothers, Blaze of Hope, those that really give back to the community. And they don't have to have a set of beliefs. Right. And yet they're doing good things, and we embrace them about it. So reminds me of one issue we had with I don't want to get real pointed here, but it was about being a ministry partner for a group in town that helped women who were struggling with abortion. And they came to us, and they were one of our partners. And one of the conservative pastors, who is now the board of directors, he came and said, we want you to sign this statement of beliefs. And I said, we're not going to do that. He said, well, you should. I said, I did not believe that when I was in college, much less grad school and the PhD program. I mean, this is just not who we are, and we're not going to sign those. He said, well, then you can't be a part of us. If you don't sign up these basic, and basically it was a 1978 Chicago Statement of Inerrancy. I mean, that's the year I graduated from college, so it's not like this is a historic document. But in that, I said, no, we're just not going to do that. And he said, well, you can't be a part of our group then, and that's okay. But then I asked this question. I said, my friend, if I were a Jewish rabbi, would you allow me to participate in this benevolent organization trying to help people? And he said, I don't want to talk about that.
Wow.
And the answer is implied, yes, but since you're not, you have to agree with everything that we believe on the Christian side. But even that guy is so far right that they do some things in their church that I go, well, I scratch my head and go, boy, I don't know that I feel comfortable with that. But here's the thing: I shouldn't judge him.
Right.
He shouldn't judge us.
Right.
And we all need to be a little more compassionate when heresy comes up.
Well, I think there isn't this like univocal belief system that there is evangelicalism, but even within evangelicalism, there's a lot of different.
Agreed.
Belief systems within that. So I don't understand why we all have to be on the same page of beliefs to just help each other. Like, we're busy fighting internally when we should be more busy. Like, I loved your line from this weekend. I want to be a mirror of Christ.
Right.
I don't want people looking at me, Joel Osteen, Brian McLaren, any of these guys. You want to be a mirror for Christ. And I think if that's the heart of who Suncoast is, and we're just trying to do that the best of our possibility, what's the problem?
Yeah, agreed.
Why do we need the statement of belief? And I think for a lot of people, I think the hard part is they truly believe that eternity is on the line.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that they have the correct beliefs, and they're part of a church that has correct thinking, correct beliefs, correct theology, so that way eternity is secured.
See, now my line I liked on this weekend was, what exercise do you like? Do you think it's the best? And we went through all the different exercises, swimming, whatever. And so that's the exercise. I believe this exercise is the best. Well, which one do you do? Mm-hmm. And for some people, I don't do any of them. Mm-hmm. But I'm quick to tell you that swimming is the best exercise, or walking, or biking, or weightlifting. But which one do you do? I don't do any of them. But what I believe and the way I act, they need to be the same.
Right.
I mean, I think that if I'm a nutritionist, I really believe that we should eat healthy, and I don't eat healthy.
Right.
Then do I really believe that? The answer is probably not. So some churches who have this view of hell as this eternal damnation, that, it's just there and it's going to happen, and my interpretation of hell is a little different way. But if that's true, then if that's what I think, then I should be dragging everybody off the street corner and putting a knife to their throat and saying either confess or die. Or my kids, who before they reach the age of accountability at 12, because once you get 12, if they commit one sin, or then they're burned forever and ever and ever and ever in hell. So it has been suggested then we need to kill our children before they reach the age of accountability to assure their salvation forever.
Yeah.
Now
that's what we're dealing with. Yeah.
That's just outrageous concepts. So I much prefer to say, we live our life by faithfulness. Mm-hmm. And faithfulness is living out the very structure of who I am.
Right.
And so much of that is so backward. Mm-hmm. My belief system, I've got all that together. But are you helping anybody? No. Are you hurting people? Maybe. Are you egocentric? Yes. Is everything about you? Material possessions? Yes. Are you sharing? No. But this is what I believe. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, if I were the Apostle Paul, I'd say this should not be, my brothers and sisters.
Right.
Right. How can this continue?
Yeah, and I think I love what you did with the correlation between a healthy marriage. And one of the things that you're saying, you say constantly, is I want to help people have a healthier view of God.
Right.
And that was one of the lines I loved in the video of, like, Susan said, Jesus came to correct your view of the Father. I think you got him wrong. And I think putting that dynamic between a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, just lets us see it a little bit more clearly, because I think a lot of people have already established who God is in their mind and the dynamic of certain theological beliefs that they don't really spend too much time thinking about. I know I didn't. Like, I didn't think about atonement theories. I didn't think about the concept of hell and how, that doesn't logically make a whole lot of sense, and it's not really theologically sound. So putting it into this concept of a marriage or of a father just helps you understand it a little bit more. And it's like, if this were a dynamic in a marriage, this would be a really unhealthy marriage. But why do we let our relationship with God be this unhealthy view? And I think that is the number one thing that Suncoast is trying to do, not just show the love of God, but show the correct, like, healthier, more theologically sound view of God.
And let me sum that view up in just a couple of statements. To realize that God loves me and he accepts me just as I am today, that is liberating. That I'm not this dirty, rotten sinner, steeped in sin from birth, that unless I meet all these conditions of God, he will not love me or accept me, and therefore my future is eternal damnation. It's so much better and I think the Bible teaches this, that when we realize that we are God's children, that he loves us unconditionally, just like the lost son. Even when he was gone, his father always loved him and always wanted him to return home. And when he finally got his act together and realized what an idiot he was, and he went back to his father met him, ran to him, and said, no, you don't have to come all the way back here. You always are, you always will be my child, and I will always love you unconditionally. We get that right, and the rest of it, just so much easier to live your life, and it's so much less guilt, more fulfilling. Jesus, all of a sudden, his spirit becomes alive when that's the premise.
Yeah, and I think you summed it up with faithfulness and love breeds faithfulness and love.
Yeah, I agree.
When you have this feeling of faithfulness from your father, you want to do the same for other people. But if you have this feeling of hatred or anything like that, that's going to come out of you as well. Right. So I think it was a great weekend. I mean, I loved the Heretic song. That was a really fun song to play, and I think it accurately portrayed who we are, and it just made us think a lot. And the video came out well, and this sermon was amazing. So do you have anything else for one more thing?
Nope. I look forward to this coming week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pastor.
No problem.